Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw, and this is about the card Jaws of Defeat, which is one of the cards I wanted to share with you from the Tarkir Dragonstorm set that I think is very underrated and nobody's talking about it. So I'm trying to bring it to you. So if it pops up on your YouTube homepage, there's a reason why, because you've been brewing a commander that has a black color pip and is probably entering or probably will be casting a lot of creatures or creature tokens and putting them onto the battlefield in a very, very efficient way. So without further ado, let's talk about Jaws of Defeat. I'm actually going to stay on the screen without maximizing it. So let's talk about it. For 4 mana, 3 and a black, it's an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control enters, target opponent loses life equal to the difference between that creature's power and its toughness. Already there, your creature needs to have a different power and toughness for this to trigger. So you already know it's going to lean toward creatures with defender, okay, or creatures that are just wall type of based creatures. But I do have some other spells that can be very, very interesting. Let's talk about them. Tarkir Dragonstorm, storm. So, Jaws of Defeat says when you cast a creature with a difference of power and toughness, they lose that much life, right? So look at Felothar the Steadfast. For 1 in Abzan, it is an 0/5 body. That means when you play Felothar, an opponent will lose 5 life. Target opponent. So let's talk more about Felothar's ability. It says, each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Creatures you control attack as though they didn't have defender. Okay, so this is going to be a defender-themed commander. All those 1/4s, 1/7s, 0/7 creatures that you have, your opponents will lose, target opponent will lose the difference between its power and toughness. So just imagine casting a creature for 3 mana and it's a 0/7 wall, like the wall of junk, right? That target opponent loses 7 life. Ouch. Okay, ouch. Moving on to the next one. Next up, we got Betor, Ancestor's Voice. For 2 in Abzan, 3/5 body. Okay, that means target opponent will lose 2 life. That's meh. But let's look at the abilities of the creature. Flying, lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to 1 other target creature you control equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Return up to 1 target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. So what will happen? When you go to the end step with Betor, you're returning another creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, triggering Jaws of Defeat. And whatever the power and toughness difference is draining life from target opponent again. So this is almost like a 2-for-1 and it's repeatable value. Great card to be adding with Jaws of Defeat. Moving on to the next. Combat tricks. So look, we got Ink Shield. If you don't know this card, this is one of the best prevent combat damage cards that is out there. All right, for 3 white and a black, it is an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Okay, Jaws of Defeat is out on the battlefield and you cast Ink Shield. I need y'all to let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I doubt it. Okay, when you cast Ink Shield for whatever the amount of damage that you're about to take, let's take 10 as an example. That means you will create 10 2/1 white and black Inkling creature tokens with flying. Okay, the difference between 2 and 1 of these white, black, and Inkling creatures is 1. So that means you will be able to drain 1 life from target opponent 10 times. You can choose which target opponents 10 times, but it will be 1 life. This is a nasty card, and that is just as an example for 10 damage you prevented. Moving on to the next. Toughness matters. Once again, we got a Toughness Matters commander. Nonetheless, one of the most popular, it is Doran the Siege Tower. For Abzan, it is an O5 body legendary tree folk shaman. So that means when you got Jaws of Defeat on the battlefield, then you cast Doran the Siege Tower, target opponent loses 5 life. Loses 5 life. Do not underestimate how much 5 life is. That is over approximately like 12.5% of their starting life total. Think about that. And it gets stronger as their life total is at a lower rate. I don't know why I wanted to just do some mathematics on it, but I just wanted to put it in perspective how powerful losing 5 life actually is. Yeah. Moving on. Oh, yeah. Besides that, otherwise, if you play with this commander, you have a bunch of creatures in this deck that have higher toughness rather than power. So that means the difference between that power and toughness will trigger Jaws of Defeat. Just works well with this commander. Moving on to the next. Okay, you got to add Jaws of Defeat with Yargle and Multani. A super cool commander, very Golgari-ish, a crazy power and toughness. When it debuted from March of the Machines, I was just like, I want to build it automatically. Let's talk about them. For 3, 2 black, and a green, 18/6 legendary Frog Spirit Elemental. What I got to say about that? That means an opponent, target opponent, will lose 12 life when you cast Yargle and Multani from the command zone or from the 99. I don't know if you have them in your 99, but 12 life for casting a 6 mana creature when Jaws of Defeat is on the battlefield, that is eliminating a player. And most of the time, let me put in perspective how powerful this is. Most counter spells do not target creatures, or the most powerful, expensive counter spells don't target creatures. Okay, just put that in perspective. And if they do, ooh, like most counter spells are not targeting creatures. They are expensive to cast if it says counter target spell. 4 mana to counter target spell, or some kind of scenario to counter target spell. Yeah, think about that. Just think about that. Think about that the next time you play in your pod. Moving on. Thank you for watching this video. I think Jaws of Defeat is an auto include for a lot of black pipped colored commanders. It just is able to drain target opponent's life if you got the right scenario of creature types that are entering the battlefield. It is a very powerful card. I think the star card that I recommended for you it is Ink Shield. It just is unexpected. It's a combat trick and it can end players uh, life life total quickly. It says target opponent. Then it's for each inkling that enters the battlefield, so you can divide the life loss how you want it to. Then it's like the ceiling for this card could be 30, 60 damage. You see what I'm going here? It could just be it has a it has a low floor, high ceiling. Like it's just variable. Otherwise, there's a bunch of creatures that are here that just use this card great, especially ones that have a toughness matter theme. So hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe if you're first time visiting this video, or if you're coming back, hey, share the video. Peace out, y'all.